Hello, I'm Theresa Ungru. I come from Hörstel, Germany, and I'm the manager of two community wind farms, one here in Hörstel and the other in Alter Rheine. At the same time, I'm also a farmer. I have a pig fattening and arable farm and try to get everything under one roof. If you want to implement a renewable energy project, it's all about money. And when it comes to money, as we all know, friendship sometimes ends. In order for the friendship to continue, rules are needed which everyone adhere to, and the best is to have them from the start. And these rules are presented in a business and in a social model. And then everyone sticks to it, so that you actually get back to the real thing, namely the building of renewable energy and community projects. I come from Germany, and there may be some legal forms that do not exist in other European countries. In that case, maybe I would turn to lawyers to find out about them. I can explain it for Germany. There are simpler legal forms that are easier to organize, and there are more complicated legal forms, which may then also require notary, and you just have to see in which phase you'll choose which legal form. For example, you can start with a civil law association. It's a simple merging a group, then you already have certain rules that are defined for it, and that's how it was for us. We then looked at which legal form was then actually the best for us in the long term. For example, you can choose a cooperative model that is also very interesting, especially for citizen energy projects where a lot of people should participate. But individuals do not want to take too much risk on themselves. We did it in such a way that we founded a GmbH & Co. KG. In the initial structure, we had quite a few people with us, but wanted to continue working professionally and also work with disclaimers. That was given with these legal forms. And now, 4 years after the wind turbines have been set up here in the background, we have the possibility to take in citizens now. They will be included in the Co. KG, as so-called limited partners, and still have a lot of co-determination so that they can also be included conceptually. Yes, these are all legal forms that were possible, and we now have chosen the GmbH & Co. KG.
Ja, und das sind die Rechtsformen, die so möglich waren, und wir haben jetzt die GmbH & Co. KG gewählt.
The best is to first find out about the types of company that exist in your country. And it's good to look for lawyers, maybe to do seminars when you're still at the beginning. I was lucky that I went to university and that was an important topic in my studies. Then you deal with the topic, and then you also have to look, okay, maybe there are role models in my region near me from whom I can also learn. Contracts maybe that I can use. Can I take parts of the contracts? You don't always have to build everything from scratch by yourself. And that's how we did it too. We already had a community farm that worked in the GmbH & Co. KG, and we took their contracts. Many of the things that were done there in the compatible design were improved again.
Deren Verträge haben wir genommen, vielleicht Fehler, die sie dort in den vertraglichen Gestaltungen gemacht haben, nochmal verbessert. Überlegt euch einfach, was im schlimmsten Fall passieren könnte.
Just think about what could happen in the worst case. Then you have to find a regulation, because that's when the contracts takes effect. That means the voting rules have to be found for the things that one has to discuss, which must be agreed on. Then how do you collect the money, and what problems can happen with that? For example, if you have people involved who suddenly die, what kind of regulation do you need? And this is also how you move from one problem to another, and you define the rules. And then you actually end up with the contract.
Einer Problemstellung zur anderen Problemstellung, und dann definiert man die Regeln, und dann hat man eigentlich den Vertrag. Zum Beispiel ist es bei uns so gewesen, dass wir von Anfang an...
For example, in our case, from the beginning we were an association of property owners and residents that wanted to do something together. Then everyone makes land available for the wind farm, and of course we would like to secure a financial remuneration for this land disposal later on. You have to put in money, get a guide, decide how it is going to be regulated so that you might get the money back from the society, and the interest rates play a role because, of course, there's a certain risk involved. Then, as property owners, we wanted to continue working, so we elected representatives. These representatives are now with us in the administration of the company, and some among these people are our managing directors. And the administration of the company is a part of this GmbH & Co. KG. That's the GmbH part of it. And now comes the Co and KG. Who are they? These are all people who will now be added later. The limited partners, citizens. And of course, they want to invest money, they want to have a good interest rate, but perhaps they don't necessarily want to be liable for more than the money they provide. And that is regulated in such a way that they are simply limited partners.
Was sie dann zur Verfügung stellen, haften wollen. Und das ist dann also so geregelt, dass die dann halt einfach nur Kommanditisten sind, vielleicht dann letztendlich auch nicht die Personen sein wollen, die dann
maybe in the end you don't want to be one of those who want to shape everything. And it does not have to be so, because these are in turn the people who are in the company's administration. And then, of course, you also have to define the framework within which the people in the company's administration are allowed to work, in order not to drive the entire company up against the wall.
Vor die Wand zu fahren vielleicht auch. Bei uns im Vertrag war es auch besonders wichtig, dass wir auch
For us, in the contract, it was also particularly important to value regionality. We've included everything in the contract, and we have also made sure that the people who come from the region are preferred as investors, and have also paid attention, when we then advertised participation in the wind farm, to also stay regional there. Fact is, and perhaps a little more complex compared to other business models and forms of society, in Germany, for a GmbH & Co. KG that has more than 20 limited partners, you have to create a prospectus.
Bei einer GmbH & Co. KG, die mehr als 20 Kommanditisten hat,
all the opportunities and risks are described in such a way that everybody is really fully and transparently informed regarding all projects and financial participation.
Die so ein Projekt und eine Beteiligung ausmachen, dass die Leute auch wirklich vollumfänglich und transparent informiert werden. Marketing ist natürlich ein ganz wichtiger Faktor.
Marketing is of course a very important factor in reaching citizens. Marketing, namely advertising your project and the goals that the project actually wants to pursue, so that people think, okay, maybe that is an attractive investment on one hand, but I would also like to support the project because it's a great project, because it's here on site, because it has an advantage for me. Also an advantage for society as a whole, which we had, for example, in that we wanted to add value here on site in the rural region. Renewable energies can only actually be produced on a large scale in rural areas, and so rural people should also benefit from it. So that was our goal. Now the question is, who do you want to address? And then, of course, you have to be aware of which target groups can be addressed and how. And you should think out of the box. See which age group and how to reach out to it.
Und da sollte man auch über den Tellerrand hinaus gucken, schauen, okay.
Of course, regional newspapers are a good choice, and for advertising the posters are great. But I'm 34 now. For me, it was very important to also reach the people in my target group. So it's very important to be online, on social media. We did that too. Overall, I think a homepage, your own homepage, is a good business card, which you can use to organize a lot.
Da ist es ganz wichtig, dass man auch im Internet unterwegs ist, in den sozialen Medien.
But then we also posted videos in order to provide further information about the project on the internet. The corona crisis was important, of course, for everyone too.
Wir haben dann aber darüber hinaus auch Videos eingestellt.
And then we also advertised on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. You think, okay, that's actually international. But actually, you can be very, very regional. You can make very, very specific advertising, and we use that.
Instagram und Facebook, da denkt man, okay, das ist eigentlich international, aber man kann sehr, sehr.
And then there are also many young people and also young women who deal with such things. That was my personal concern also as a woman. And so we now have a very mixed group of citizens who represent the society here on site.
Haben wir jetzt eine ganz gemischte Gruppe von Bürgern, die auch die ganze Gesellschaft hier vor Ort auch abbildet. Die Frage, die man sich persönlich immer stellt, schaffe ich das auch?
The question that you always ask yourself personally is, can I do this too? And it's interesting to see that there are people like me who are just like you. I'm not particularly smart, nor did I have a particularly good idea about wind turbines. I actually had to teach myself all this. And it's very important that you link up, get together and ask questions. There are no stupid questions. And the other way around, it's important in politics that a basis is created, that people link up, connect, roundtables are built, and that people talk about what they intend to do and make sure there will be no obstacles in their way. And then maybe in the first step, like it happened for us with the feed-in tariff scheme, have a certain secure basis that you can work with, and then put your money there with a clear conscience in the next step. And with us, it was the feed-in tariff. So people said, okay, there's a basic remuneration with the whole thing, and on top of that, we are professionalizing ourselves. And I don't think we need to be that much afraid of building wind turbines now, even in a different model. And so it's important that we all link up together, encourage each other, and exchange knowledge. And that's why it's so important that you also watch these videos here.
Deshalb ist es so wichtig, dass ihr auch diese Videos hier euch anguckt.